Good morning, listeners. I hope that I find you well on this beautiful day, and I hope the week that's gone by since our last chat was good to you. So we've had a request from Emily to talk about the ideal career path. There's no easy answer, Emily, to that one. I must be honest with you. But there are a few things we can consider and a few things that will hopefully guide you in the right direction. Let me just say that our career paths can change over time. You know, I started off in the commercial insurance industry in Johannesburg as a young woman, and then later in life went back to university and studied psychology. So our career paths can change, and what you want from life now may not be the same as what you wanted 10 or 20 years ago. But having said that, certain things won't change, so just let's have a quick look at those things. So firstly, I want to talk to you about your personality style. So not a personality type, but a personality style. There are, broadly speaking, 4 personality styles that we will look at. So the first one is, let's say, the arty-farty ones. We all know the person that is artistic, they're flamboyant, they dress boldly. If they want to get up at 3 in the morning because they've had some inspiration to do something, to work on something arty, they want to do that. They don't want to be bound to a desk from 8 till 4. They don't want to be bound too much by convention. And sometimes we think of them as a little bit of an airhead or, a little bit all over the place. But that's their personality style. They like to do what they feel like doing it when they feel like doing it. And they are those wonderful, as I say, arty people who have homes and offices that are beautifully decorated, often, as I say, flamboyant, and they're not so bound by convention as you and I. The next one is the academic cognitive thinking type, or the analytical type. These individuals, they think, they analyze, they need to understand something. They can't just accept what's told to them. They need to unravel it and say, well, if I need to know how it works, I need to know how you came to that conclusion, then it can work for me, and then I can work with that information. They would be our legal people, our advocates, psychologists, scientists. They want the cause and effect in the path. They need to understand that. And I must admit, I'm like that, and it can drive my family crazy because I will analyze what they say and wonder how they came to that conclusion or why they're doing something. And when I understand it, I'm comfortable with it. The next one is the free spirit or the adventurer. These are the Bear Grylls, the Steve Backshells, the professional soldiers or the mercenaries, or people who just go off exploring. They, again, a bit like your arty-farty person, they don't want to sit behind a desk all day. They don't want to shuffle papers. They want to engage with life. They want to be out there. They want to experience new things all the time. So those, again, are a very specific personality style. And then the last one is the loyal, responsible type. I like to call them the Labradors, because these people are loyal to a fault. They are driven by a sense of duty and loyalty, and often to their own detriment. A partner or an employer can treat them badly, but they will stick to it because they undertook to, till death do us part, at their wedding vows, or with their employer. They've got the job and this is what the job demands, and they'll do it to their own detriment. And so you can clearly see that these 4 personality styles, certainly if you can identify which one suits you best, it will most certainly include certain professions and exclude others. As I say, your adventurer, your free spirit, and your arty-farty type definitely cannot sit behind a desk from 8 to 5, drive the same route to work, drive the same route home, etc., etc. Whereas the academic, cognitive thinking, and the loyal person are far more comfortable having that routine, having that cause and effect in their life, having to, as I say in my case, analyze things and think about things and find solutions, and like the attorney in the court, thinking on his feet, finding solutions, pulling things apart, analyzing. And the same with the loyal person. They don't like to be here one day and there the next, and work in a world where there are no real landing lights, if I can put it that way. They like their landing lights. This is where I'm going to land. This is where I'm going to take off. And as I say, if you can, Emily, try and identify where you fall, broadly speaking. It would certainly help you to exclude certain categories of career choices and include others. The next one that is quite important to decide, and is often a bit misunderstood by the general population, is introvert versus extrovert. Now, we all think of the extrovert as the person who's jolly, who's vivacious, who likes parties, and the introvert, well, quite the opposite, want to sit on their own, quiet, introspective, not the life and soul of the party, etc. And while those things are by and large true, it is more than that. An introvert, let's say, I would say, let me put it this way, an introvert finds that they will recharge their batteries, I want to say in solitude, sitting by themselves, reading a book, going through for a walk in nature. They will have to, if they've been exposed to people, to activity, to lots of, the hum of the office, they would have to retreat to a quiet place to charge their batteries. That's where they get their energy from. They get their energy more internally. Whereas the extrovert, if an extrovert was given a task where for 3 weeks they had to sit in the back office and analyze data, they could do it. But they would find that I now need company, I now need to go and meet with my mates, or, have some family over for a braai, that kind of thing. And that's how they would recharge their batteries. So ask yourself, how do I recharge my batteries? By finding a quiet space to be on my own, or by going to look for company? Again, it doesn't mean that introverts are always on their own and they cannot be with people. They just don't need to be with people as much as and as often as the extrovert. So if you're an introvert, going into sales is going to become hard work for you. The first 3 months will be fine, and then you're going to find you're leaving work exhausted. The same with the extrovert. The extrovert, put them in the back office and say, there's the data, analyze it, we'll leave you alone in peace and quiet. They'll do it, and they could probably do an excellent job as well as anyone else, but they're going to start taking strain. So again, decide for yourself whether you're an introvert and an extrovert. And this goes a long way to also explain some rocky patches in relationships. If you're an extrovert and you are in a relationship with an introvert, you may have at times felt like saying to your introverted partner, you don't care about me. All you want to do is sit at home by yourself. All you want to do is spend time with me, just the two of us. You never want to have my family over. You don't want to see my friends, etc. And the opposite, the introvert can say to the extroverted part, you always want to be out. You never want to spend time with me. You're always looking for other company. And it's really not the case. It's just where they charge their batteries. So the introvert can go to a party and have a wonderful time, but they don't want to go to a party every weekend. They can do it once, have a wonderful time, and even be the life and soul of the party, but then they need to go back and retreat into that quiet space where they recharge their batteries. So ask yourself, am I introvert or am I extrovert? So those are the obvious, my personality style. And then, am I an introvert or extrovert, Emily? I hope that is already lighting up a few light bulbs for you. Then the other obvious thing that comes to mind is, what are your natural strengths? As I've mentioned before, I'm no good with anything that involves a ball. So deciding to be a professional tennis player or golfer was never going to end happily for me. So what are your natural strengths? What are you good at? Is it numbers, figures? Do you love the accounting side of things? If you are perhaps still at school, or if you think back to school, where did you achieve the best results? I almost want to say with the least effort. Because the harder we have to work at something to get decent results, the more it could be indicative that is not your natural strength. Of course, there are things that we grow into. I must admit, at school I was an average student, but at university I was a pretty above average student. I kind of matured a bit later on and found that niche where I loved the research and the academia that worked well for me. But equally, it could not work for someone else. So where are your natural strengths? Where do you find that when I'm busy doing this, I just love it, time just flies. We've spoken about that before with finding meaning in life. So where are those natural things that you enjoy and you are good at? Now, if you thoroughly enjoy and you're good at knitting, I'm not saying that's going to be a career path for you. It could become a lucrative hobby. And yes, it's not impossible, but look at other things that is associated then with creativity. If you turn that on its head, you can say, what do I really battle with? What is a big ask for me to commit to? As I say, if it involves accounting, adding up columns of figures, it's not really something I enjoy. I can do it, and at times we all have to do it, but it's not something I enjoy, and it's not something I want to spend the bulk of my life doing. And we do spend most of our time in a job, be it working from home or be it going into a company to work. So it's rather important that we are happy at what we do. So finding out where your natural strengths are would be a good start as well. And then, as I say, where do you find when you're engaged in something, you just, the time just flies. You really have that flow of going with the task at hand. So, Emily, it's not, let me just add, you can, of course, go to a clinical psychologist. They have wonderful aptitude tests that can also help you eliminate certain things. But again, it's not cast in stone. My son was 16 in matric, had no clue what he wanted to do. So we took him for a battery of tests with a clinical psychologist. They did it all. And we went for the feedback. They said he's a highly intelligent youngster. He could almost do anything. He's good at thinking on his feet. Yet the one area we suggest he stays away from is the natural sciences. And, well, he went on to study marine biology and got his master's degree cum laude and was highly thought of in his field. So it wasn't, the one thing they said he should stay away from is actually the area he excelled in. I don't want to discourage you from going for, any sort of assessment with a professional person, not at all, because it could just open that door for you. A light bulb could go on. But in essence, my advice to you, Emily, and to other listeners, you're saying, what do I do? What career path should I choose? Is look at those things that are in your face. What is my personality style? Where do I see myself in an office environment with all that goes with that? Or am I more of a free spirit, the adventurer, the artist? Try and get those out the way. And then, am I an extrovert or am I an introvert? Again, it would also help to say, well, if I am an extrovert, perhaps choosing a career path that's going to demand of me to spend vast quantities of time on my own is not where I'm going to flourish. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying you're not going to flourish. And then, as I say, where are my natural strengths? Where Where are the things that engage me, that I'm really interested in, and that I feel at a gut level I could spend a lot of time doing this and enjoy it, as opposed to, well, I can do it, but only for so long. And yes, there are then, of course, the IQ tests. It's if your numeric literacy is not great, then it's probably not a good idea to go into an area that would require that, and vice versa. If your verbal literacy is not that great, then again, it's perhaps not a good idea to choose a career path where those are high on the demand lists. You can, of course, develop those things should you so desire. But yeah, Emily, as I say, it is not a black and white thing. It, again, like finding your purpose in life. Our career could be our purpose. As I've said, I feel mine is. As doctors are, very often you find people who have become doctors have wanted to be a doctor from a relatively young age, and so they step into that role and that purpose of being doctors, and the same with attorneys there too. It does not mean that you can't change direction 10 or 20 years down the road. But for the time being, the best you can do is to say, what do I believe will make me happy now? What do I believe, to the best of my ability, is my personality style, is my preference, whether I'm introvert or extrovert, and what are my natural strengths? Again, as I say, this talk is not exhaustive on that, but I hope it gives you some ideas of what to look at. And then once you've got the broad outlines of those aspects of yourself, then you can match them with areas of interest, and then from that distill or funnel into, well, I'm an extrovert, my natural strengths are dealing with people, but I also have a love for understanding people, what makes them tick. So something like psychology or life coaching would be something I could definitely look into. If you're a young person, or perhaps not necessarily, maybe you can shadow someone for a bit. It would be difficult, obviously, with psychology because those things are highly confidential. But in other areas, you can perhaps go and speak to someone in that area and say, how do you experience being a life coach on a day-to-day basis? What are the things that you find rewarding? What are the things that's a bit of a challenge in that position? Because, of course, every job on earth, no matter how much you love it, has certain aspects to it which perhaps you enjoy less than others. And it's a good idea to look at those as well. To say, I love this about this profession, but there are aspects that I don't think I'm going to love. How important is that? Is that going to get me down after a while? Or is it something that the rewards are so great that I can easily deal with the not so enjoyable aspects of that particular career choice? So I hope that was helpful, Emily. As I say, it's not exhaustive. You can always go, as I say, to a clinical psychologist to do some psychometric testing. They will also help you decide whether you're introvert or extrovert and to what degree. Because let's be honest, even though I'm an extrovert, there are times that I like to be quiet and on my own. And the introvert, as much as they like to be on their own, are times when they need people and enjoy people to interact with. So I hope that was useful. If you would like some more information, please give me a call or drop me an email. And my number is 082 330 2439, and my email is leefoulislifecoach@gmail.com. And listeners, please keep sending in your requests for topics. We just love it. I love chatting to you about what's important to you, and I love the feedback. So with that, I wish you all a great day and a great weekend ahead until we chat again next week.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is South Coast Radio.